Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7. Today we're just going to talk about surviving free equipment removal and what you should kind of plan to get about it and how to go about doing that. So I want to mention this is going to be completely different depending on the stage of the game you're in. So first off, I'm just going to kind of talk about what I'm going to be doing as an endgame player that has kind of completed everything. So the number one thing I am going to be doing is making sure I can beat Abyss 90, and I did that yesterday, so that's out of the way. I don't need to worry about this anymore. My next step is to make sure my dungeon teams are fine. Specifically, I really want to get 100% stable A11, and I want to get 100% stable Wyvern 11 teams with 3 units, 1 fodder. I feel like farming dungeons with 4 is just not worth it for me right now, so I'm really trying to get 3 with 1 fodder. I had it before, but it was honestly like an 85-90% success rate, and that wasn't really good enough for me, so I'd really like to get that up there. So those are going to be the 2 things I do right off the bat. It doesn't matter what else needs to be done. Those units need those things to be able to do that. And then also, if I'm only going to be using that character there, so for example, my Kisei, if I might use in Wyvern 11, is really slow and really hard hitting. She's not really going to be usable in PvP. So what I plan to do is give her basically the least amount of gear that she requires for that dungeon to get that job done. So my PvP units and my units I use elsewhere can get a little bit of a better edge. So those are the main things I need to get done. Those are 100% has to happen, or else I need to start from stage 1 again. After that, I plan to get my high morale team going. So something like a 41-ish morale raid team. I know I can do that with some combination of Tamarin, Araminta, Violet, maybe Vildred, maybe Angelica. If you use the site I did a video for yesterday, you can kind of figure that out for yourself to see what is going on and who kind of likes each other. So I really recommend doing that as well. And the thing with this too is you don't really need the best of gear, honestly, especially if you have, again, this is coming from me, so from my perspective. So obviously you need really good gear, but this is just my perspective right now at my gear level. I personally don't need really good gear to be able to do Hell Raid. Tamarin plus Lidica plus Araminta kind of carry some of the bosses. So I'm not too worried about this. So I'm just going to kind of give them good enough gear to do it, and I'm going to do a test run with them today as well to make sure I could actually kill it. And then next up is the fun part. I need to make sure my PvP is great. Every single last resource after this initial is going into PvP for me. Specifically, my Guild War defense needs to get better. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. I haven't decided, but those 6 units are going to need the star of the show, all of my best gear possible, and they're going to need all the investment. So that's my main goal there. And after that, I'm going to work on my arena team, and then after that, I'm finally gonna work on the fun units like Celestial Mercedes and maybe Charlotte and maybe somebody else. And with those fun units, I'm gonna try to fill out my Banshee 11 team, and I'm also going to try to fill out my the other one, not A11, Golem 11 team, just because I want to be able to run them just if I get bored of Wyvern or A11 or something like that. But I don't really care how long the runs are, as long as they're somewhat stable. So that's my main goal. And after I get all this done, I'm gonna need to make sure I spam dungeons for a day. Spend an entire day doing nothing but your Wyvern 11, doing nothing but your A11, to make sure it's stable, because in Summoner's War, which we had before, I'd run like 10 runs in a row and just destroyed the place. And then free equipment removal disappeared, and the next day I tried to run it, and I had like a 25% success rate, and my characters were just God mode the day before. So make sure 100% that things are going right, because if you don't practice, but if you don't keep trying and don't get a good enough sample size, then you never know what might happen. So that's kind of personally what I am doing. I will show you the before and after of all my units after this. I've only really done a couple, and I've not done them permanently yet. So I've been tossing gear back and forth. Like I put this set on my Araminta here. Pretty happy with it. but I'm probably not going to keep this on here specifically because I only have 1 crit damage neck. I also did some other things, like got my Tamarin up to 215 speed to make sure she is just the fastest baller out there. I honestly left Violet the way he is because I love my Violet right now. I tested out Kitty Clarissa. This is not the gear set I used on her. I did beat Abyss 90 with Kitty Clarissa, so let me know in the comments below if you do want to see that video. And we have Rin here, and you can see some lacking things here, like this necklace, but I will need to rebuild her. I did try to get a counter set. It was really funny yesterday. I had no counter set, and I needed a counter set boots with speed on them and defensive stats, so I went over to the shrine. I had 1 item to build, and I built this. So yeah, I'm basically god at this game. So that really helped the counter set out, but I'm not going to end up with a counter set. I'm going to end up with probably about 210 speed on the Rin when I'm done with it. I also gave her a lot of Molagoras, by the way. I invested into Rin. I finally got that Celestine. So yeah, I've got a lot to do. So that's what I'm doing. That's going to be a lot different from what everybody else is doing or what each individual person is doing. So super keep that in mind. If I'm a new player, if I'm sitting somewhere at rank like 50 to 60 or even early 60s and I haven't beat Hell Raid or anything like that, the #1 goal I do is make sure you get that Hell Raid done. Make sure you get the regular raid done. Make sure you get an Abyss team going. So what this usually means is making sure your Angelica or your Tamarin, or both even, they're both fantastic together, or whoever else you're healing with is fantastically geared and can tank and carry your teams. That's really important. Also make sure you have 1 single target DPS if you can, that can kind of carry as well. Alternatively, you could use Bellona or something like that, or Lidica or Kisei. So many different units. Just make sure you have somebody that fits really well in the PvE setting that can help with that team. And then like a 4th unit, maybe even a mitigation person. Clary is still a fantastic choice, but if you want to switch to Crow or anybody else defensive that can hold an Aureus, that works too. So keep that in mind. There's so many different ways you can go about this. But if I am not done the game in quotes yet, my first order of business is going to be the Abyss. My second order of business is going to be the Raid. My third order of business is going to be Wyvern 11. I don't try to do all 4 dungeons. I just stick to 1 dungeon right now if you're early game. And I think with this new Indomitable Knight artifact, it might be worth building up one of the 6-star or one of the 4-star or 5-star Ice Knights just to kind of tank this area. Just to get your Wyvern 11 team going. I would do it with 4 people to make sure you can do it. That's really important as well. And definitely, I wouldn't even focus on the other 3. I wouldn't even touch Golem, Banshee, Azumanic until you get your Wyvern going and you're farming it, and you're farming it, and you're farming it. And then you can start building your other units with the gear you get from Wyvern. So I know this wasn't really very specific. I kind of went into this hoping this was going to be specific, but it's really too hard not to, or too hard to go that route. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how to proceed through this week. And just start from scratch, work your way up, 1 project at a time. And don't be afraid to make your like your main unit a little worse, because there will be times you'll finish your first unit with like a speed set, you'll finish your second unit with a speed set, and then you'll be at like your 8th unit and there's just no option to get a speed set. But if you take your like speed helm off of your 3rd person, you can make your 6th person infinitely better and your 3rd person slightly worse. Like that's kind of a good trade-off you need to make. So yeah, I'm so glad we got this. I'm so excited. Since 1 billion of you are going to ask, I only got 29 Molagora back from the mail. I think it's because I spent a lot of time or a lot of Molagora investment in early skills, so that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This is the best I can do here. I'm gonna be doing free equipment removal all day on stream for the next week of my life, so feel free to join us there. You'll kind of get a lot of tips and ideas on how to build people, and that's great, and I'm always there to answer questions too. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everybody.